Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it's so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a Friday edition of the JP Peterson Show. However you guys are jumping in, we are so glad to have you. And Tim Ham from our DSP affiliate in Dallas joining us here this morning. Good morning to you, Timmy. Your
Good morning, everybody.
Stars pulled one out last night. How about that?
Yeah. Didn't go the way we wanted it to, but we'll get them back. It's all right.
I guess I could have pulled one out last night, but did not. I misspoke there. Yes, should have, but hey, it's like every team on the road was winning now in the late stages. It's crazy. Yeah. But that's the way the playoffs are going. We got a lot to get to today. Historic times in college sports, which I know you've been covering for 30 plus years, as have I. Mm-hmm. It is a monumental moment, one we saw coming certainly, but it is here now. College athletes can be paid by their universities. Oh my God.
It's a novel concept, isn't it?
I'm like, what, are we still here? Is the world still okay? Armageddon has not come to us. The world is not on fire. Sea levels are not rising. Like it's not over. We still breathing oxygen. Wow. I was told it would be different if college players were actually paid. But no.
The sky is falling. Pigs are flying.
No, I guess we're all okay. We will survive. We're going to get into this big time today. Corey Long, who's been covering college sports, playing college sports forever, will join us at 10:30. We'll chat with him about the ramifications. He's very dialed into recruiting and NIL and all these things that are going on. So we'll chat with him. And then at 11:15, Wade Hogan will join us. He was athletic director on Montana Division I, assistant athletic director at Georgia Tech, a longtime sports information director at FSU. His entire life has been in college sports. So he'll give us a perspective of, why things were the way they were and why they are changing and what the future landscape looks like. So we're going to dial into this pretty big today because I think it's a huge story. There's a lot of things going on topical that we'll get to here in our first segment, and we'll touch on a lot of these different things. But to me, this is the story of the day, and I think it deserves a lot of discussion. Because you, my friend, a lot of the people that watch the show and listen to the show are huge college football, college sports fans. And this is, as I said, it's not one of those things that shocks you. But just to read it, just reading it just on paper, you're just like, wow, it's here. And now how does it work? How does it work? How will it work?
I mean, it's jarring. It's jarring for just the casual college fan, right? That's really not embedded in it, and just it's because it's something that we've talked about for 30 years plus, and it never thought it would happen. Especially in such a simplistic form like this. Of course, we still need to find out things about it, how it's going to be regulated, where the money's coming from, and things like that. But it's
going to be a salary cap.
Yep. So we've talked about it before, as far as colleges and rosters within sports, like foreign players compared to U.S. players, or they're going to regulate that, so that the money's going
to
the right place,
to
the right people. So it's so many questions remaining, but I feel like it's a step in the right direction.
I do too, and it was inevitable is the main thing. So we're going to get to that in just a second as I'll set that up. But I want to touch on a couple other things we'll get to today. The Rays opening a series against the Royals, but the big thing is, where's Junior Caminero? When is he coming up? Is Josh Lowe going on the IL? We're waiting to see what the roster moves are going to be. Zach Eflin, will he be traded? Is he going on the injured? Where are all these moves coming with the Rays? Which direction are they headed? We've talked about this all week, how I believe there needs to be, and this is the time to do it, a major overhaul of this roster. This particular core group, I don't think is getting this team anywhere anytime soon. Rosarena, Yandy Diaz, as Itzhak Paredes. To me, everybody is available. And if this is a time for a complete overhaul, you've got a lot of good young players in the minors that maybe their time has come, and that starts with Junior Caminero. It's funny because when you like Google his name, find out what's going on. What comes up is like fantasy baseball players are all waiting for him to come up so they can grab him. Collectors are like waiting to buy his rookie card. It's like all this information on when the F is he coming up so we can all take advantage of this. And you've got literally the worst offensive team tied for the worst offensive team in the league. And with these dynamic players sitting at AAA, and you're not bringing up because of why you're protecting these legacy players, these core of players. Maybe the Rays see it as if they got rid of Randy Arozarena right now, the fan base would revolt because, Randy Land, heck, they're doing the broadcast tonight, BA, and they're doing the whole broadcast tonight from the Brandyland seats. So Dwayne Stats and the boys will be out there, and they're always out there. Rich Hollenberg and Doug Wechter are always out there with the pregame show, but this is right in the stands. They'll be doing it. So Randyland's been a big part of something that the fans have embraced. And if you're trying to get a stadium and, you bring favor from the fan base, that's probably not the greatest idea. But from a baseball standpoint, would I trade Randy Arozarena? Yes, I would, because he's not now. Obviously, you'd be trading him at a low level, I think. But I think anybody who's acquiring him knows he's a better player than a 156 average. I get that. You wouldn't be trading from a strength position, so to speak. But again, this is a blip in his numbers, and you're not going to be able to re-sign him anyway past next year. So if there's a deal on the table, what I'm saying is if there's a deal on the table and somebody will give you value for him, I take it right now. And it goes for Itzhak Paredes. There's nobody on this team, to me, that's untouchable. If Wander Franco were still here and, not in the minor leagues, wink, then he would be untouchable, but he's not. So other than that, remake the roster if you can. I know there's probably not a lot of huge demand for any of the Rays players for obvious reasons, but this group is not getting it done, so they need some life. This whole team needs some life, so we'll see what Eric Neander is going to do in the coming days. And again, you don't have to do a sell-off to remake this roster. You can just bring up some of the young kids and see what they can do. At this point, how could it be worse than what we're seeing? The Celtics win last night, blow out the Pacers. A quick story. So I'm thinking, the Pacers pretty, I thought they should have won game one. Clearly, absolutely choked that away. Should have won game one. And they're 9-point underdogs last night going into the game. Like, this should be a layup, right? It's a playoff game. The Pacers should have won the first game. So I'm like, I'm going to get on the Pacers. And my little 11-year-old Huddy goes, oh, no, the Celtics are going to win by 20. I'm like, shut up, kid. Shut up. Daddy's betting on the Pacers. Get on board here. He goes, nah, Celtics are. I'm like, okay, well, there goes your new PS5. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't say that. Wait a minute. We don't go. No, go Pacers. I'm like, too late. And then, of course, the Celtics win by 20. Shut up, kid. He didn't. I don't think he went to bed before that happened, so he didn't rub it in. But when he finds out, I'm certain he will, as he should. Yeah, as he should. But the Celtics go on a 20-0 run. I don't think I've ever seen that in the NBA, Tim, in a playoff game.
Not a playoff game.
20-0 run.
Was by report.
What?
Look, I'm not the biggest Rick Carlisle fan. He burned some bridges here in Dallas. He won a title here for sure, but after that, he was already crotchety old man anyway in the interview room and didn't endear himself to a lot of media members here. And not that I wish failure on him. Yeah, I think he's done wonders with that team. They should not be in the East Finals. That team isn't a finals team, and you're seeing it now, right?
Yeah.
They couldn't hold a 17-point lead in the first game.
Yeah.
They literally get blown out of the building in the second game, and I don't see this changing for this group in this series. I mean, it's looking more and more like a sweep. A lot of people predicted a sweep. It's just, man, the Celtics are on another level, I think, than not just the Pacers, but everybody else in the East, to me.
Yeah. They should be far and away the favorites. And maybe game one was an anomaly, but they become disinterested at times. And sometimes I don't think they're the toughest team. The Celtics, yeah, I think they can be pushed around at times, but their talent is undeniable. It's undeniable, and I think it's interesting. We've seen in the last 5 to 7 years is the Nets bringing all the superstars together, complete failure. Philadelphia trying to do the same thing, complete and utter failure. Where Boston is kind of that process has worked. They've drafted players, they've been smart with what the additions that they've made. I think they're well coached, but they haven't been able to get over the hump. Is this the year they get over the hump? It looks like because I'm as much as we've talked about the West. I don't know, are either of those teams better than the Celtics right now? That's where I think I think the Timberwolves defensive pressure, or even the Mavs now playing defense. What the hell's going on around here? Is their defensive pressure going to be too much for the Celtics? I don't know. I think the Celtics are more talented than either one of those teams, but I think the other teams play better defense. They play harder. I think that could be the difference. But either way, it should be a good final, wherever it comes out of the West.
Yeah, at some point, Jason Kidd figured out how to coach this year. I don't know when it was, at what point it was. And don't forget, the Mavs were not in the playoff picture for most of the season.
Yeah.
They were hovering down around the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seed, right? They were kind of hoping for a play-in game, play-in tournament appearance. And with about 2.5 weeks to play, they went on a 16-2 run to get up to the 5 seed. They've been playing good defense for the second half of the season. Luka's even playing defense.
Yeah,
that's nuts to me.
Insane.
It's insane.
How
the
did
best player on the planet, you just got better? What?
Yeah.
So
that's been a huge difference. I mean, he made a huge defensive play in that first game at the rim. Oh my God, how is he? Is he legit 6'10", 250?
Yeah, dude, he's a big boy.
Yeah, because he doesn't play with urgency. He's not super quick, obviously.
No,
he's
overweight. He's not in shape.
Yeah, he's Jokic-esque.
Very much.
Neither one of those guys have NBA bodies. I would venture to say, but they use their bodies really well. Like Luka uses that shoulder shiv to your chest, and as I think it was Tim Legler says, it feels like you're getting hit by a refrigerator. It looks very nuanced, but he makes enough space where he can rise up over you. He's got a high release that he can just shoot it get his shot anytime he wants. Which is and also he has a very interesting body angle to his shot. When he puts the shoulder in, not only does he rise up, but he kind of fades a little. He's got a little fade to his shot too. So you've got to go through his whole torso and lower body to block his shot. And if you're 6'8" or below, you got no shot. You got no shot to do it.
It's very Dirk-esque, right? We saw that for 21 years with Dirk's little fadeaway.
Yeah.
With the knee up in the air, that's what his statue is outside of the EAC. It's got the knee up in the air and the fadeaway. So it's Luka learned it from him.
Yeah,
so it's amazing.
Well, it's been passed on, and it's a highly effective move, no question. So we don't talk a lot of NBA on the show, but it's interesting to me. I think both of these series are interesting for me. And by the way, how did Kyrie Irving become likable? When did that happen?
So I've never seen a version of Kyrie Irving that I liked at all. I've never been, even back at Duke, I've never been a fan. But, dude, this is a different version of Kyrie Irving. He's happy to play the Robin to Luka's Batman, or sometimes Luka's the Robin to his Batman. You never know what you're going to get. Those guys are best friends, man. They hang out off the court. They hang out all the time. You can tell on the court. They've got great chemistry. Yeah. And I've never seen Kyrie. I was against the trade. I'm like, all right, he's going to be a locker room cancer. He's going to destroy the team. Like
everywhere he's been. Yeah.
But man, this is great. I mean, I'm a Kyrie Irving fan now. He's great in the locker room. He's great to the media, and he's put together a string of starts consecutive starts that he never had at any other stop because of injuries. He's remained fairly healthy here in Dallas, and I think that's a lot of it. I think he's having fun. He looks like he's having fun playing basketball.
Oh my God, yes, totally different demeanor on the court. It just goes to show you, as we always think that these athletes are just like robots and machines, but if they got their personal life together and they're at peace, they play better. They just play better. It definitely is that way for golfers, even amateur golfers.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's that way for everybody with your job, right? If you're happy with at home and if things are going well for you emotionally and mentally, you perform better at work, whatever your job is.
Absolutely.
It's no different with professional athletes.
I think we forget that sometimes, but it's absolutely true. And in Kyrie's case, it is. I mean, I saw him on the post game the other night, and he's very deferential, very complimentary, respectful, laughing. I mean, I was like, wow.
No, and here's how you can tell. Here's how you can tell when a guy's changed his mindset is when you look at interviews with him, post game interviews. Even during losses or wins, wherever he was at other stops, there was always blame that he placed.
Yeah,
and it was never him.
Yeah.
Here in Dallas, when they win big and he has a great night, he doesn't even take personal credit. He goes, man, we played it great as a team together. So-and-so had a great night dishing the ball out. Our defense as a team was really, really good. And when they lose, man, you know what? We need to play better as a team. We have to get it together. We have to improve here and there. No, it's never like, man, I did this, I did that, or this guy should have done this better. And that's how his mindset has changed.
Well, and it's interesting, and I think the NBA tried to make it more than it is when, after the Wolves won the other night, Ant-Man goes, and Kyrie's my matchup. I'm looking forward to it. And he was like, oh, he called out Kyrie. I'm like, no, he didn't. He just hey, I'm looking forward to the challenge. And then when asked about it, of course, but everyone wants to get Kyrie to fire back after he torched him for 24 in the first half. And he's like, hey, he's a great player, man. And I really respect him, and he's the future of the league. And, it's great competition. Does it fire me up a little? Of course, he's a great player. You want to go up against him, but it's extremely respectful. Yep. None of this me stuff. None of this. I'm like, okay, if this is the future of the NBA, I'm here for it. The sniping of years past with Kevin Durant and all the childish stuff going back and forth with Harden and all these other dinosaurs, all about me. It's turned people off to the NBA, man. Yeah. It just really, really did. And now you hear these guys talking, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah. I mean, it doesn't. And it's not like they have to hate each other to have good competition on the floor. I see pretty intense competition out there, but to me, it's much more palatable as a fan.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you know what? And look, I'm on record for the last 10 years plus as not being an NBA fan. I love basketball. I love college basketball.
Absolutely. Me too.
The NBA has not been fun to watch for me because of what LeBron did to it when he got here. And it was a me first league for him. And he's like, I'm going to get all my friends. We're going to go play on one team.
Yeah, nobody likes that.
Nobody likes that. It stopped being fun. And that was the direction the league went. It became a player driven and a player run league. And I'm not a fan of that.
Nope.
It looks like here towards the end of LeBron's career, maybe we're coming off of that a little bit. You've got guys that, previously subscribed to that. Kyrie Irving, who's now coming off of that subscription. And it's just like, these playoffs are bringing me back a little bit. And I don't mean just the Mavs games, but the other series I watched in the East. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of coming off of that a little bit. I will tell you, coming into the season, we talk a lot of Mavs, obviously, on the Colby Sapp and IndyCar Tim show right here on FanStream Sports. But before the season started, I predicted the Mavs missing the playoffs. And for most of the season, it looked like it was going to happen. And not that I wanted it to happen, but, I've never been a fan of Jason Kidd as a coach, no matter where he was. And I was not excited about the hire here. He's one of my favorite former Mavs players. But as a coach, he just never showed me anything. And he has come so far as a coach just this season, especially the second half of this season, getting these guys to play for him, getting them to change their culture on defense. And, man, if he'd have done this more, I think throughout the season, he'd have been a top candidate for Coach of the Year. He'd had to have been.
I agree.
I'm impressed.
All right, so we're here's our elongated NBA segment. I did not see coming, but it was good. All right, Scott, I want to get to this too. Scotty Scheffler video came out yesterday. And, sometimes I'm very proud of this program because, when things are happening in real time, we try to kind of digest them and, and kind of read the room a little bit. read what's going on and kind of like, this is what I think happened. And then you kind of get the details as they come out later. And you hope you're right. You hope you're not that we were absolute about it. Like, I kind of get the feeling that this is happening. This is what happened. And we were spot on. This was an overzealous cop that really overstepped his bounds big time because we knew the people involved. Scotty Scheffler is not an a-hole. He's the exact antithesis of that. And he is a very polite man. And he would not like blow off some guy. I'm Scotty Scheffler. Here's my credential. That's not him. You said it. We all said it. That's not what he does. So this whole idea that, this cop was dragged for 30 yards and, was run over by Scotty Scheffler in his PGA courtesy car and had to be hauled off to jail in shackles. I'm like, not feeling that.
No,
not feeling that. And and what I found yesterday, I thought it was really interesting. Not only do you see the video, and it's not exact video if you haven't seen it, it's from a distance, but you can see that the cop was not dragged at all. He was trying to stop the car and then jumped on top of the car, not even on top of the car, but kind of the window to try and stop him. And the guy was in no danger whatsoever. And if his pants did get damaged, maybe it was when you spilled coffee on him in the morning, because it certainly wasn't during this.
No.
And the idea that you have to put somebody in handcuffs for something like that is absolutely ridiculous. And to pull him out of the car the way he did and throw him up against the car, put his arm like that is absolutely freaking ridiculous. Yeah. And I felt it.
He's being disciplined, right? Like the cop's being disciplined. Well,
here's the thing. He's being disciplined for not turning on his body cam.
Yeah.
But why? Because of the mistakes made by the Louisville Police Department for decades. Okay. And so now I'm like, that's why we're disciplining him. How about for being an overzealous cop and throwing around Scotty Scheffler and throwing him up against the car like he's some wanton criminal? Are you serious? Are you serious? Are we not disciplining the cop for that?
Maybe they didn't give a public apology or anything, did they?
It was you have to turn on your body cam. Like, from what I saw, not one word about mistreating Mr. Scheffler. Not one word. Not one word.
And you know what I appreciated about all of this?
The charges have not been dropped. You want to come out and do a press conference, Louisville cops? Come out and drop the charges and say your cop was overzealous, what you need to do. And they probably don't want to do that because, we'll get sued. Well, guess what? You're probably going to get sued anyway. You know what? Probably. I don't think Scotty Scheffler has any inclination to sue the Louisville police. I just assume he probably just like, okay, let's just, even though I was wronged and probably stopped from winning a major championship and you effed me over, I don't think he's a guy that's going to go, okay, I'm going to sue you guys because of this.
Do that.
You get that sense?
No, he wouldn't do that. He's not that kind of guy. And look, I still think they're eventually going to drop the charges. I'm hearing too much about that.
They have
the possibility. I mean, they have to, because he's already been proven by the videos we're talking about. He didn't do anything wrong.
No.
All right. It was just as we said that morning as it happened. This was a huge misunderstanding. It was dark. It was rainy. You had cops there that were on scene to handle the accident, the fatality. And then you had other cops that were there as part of the detail for the tournament. The cops that were there for the accident don't know the things that the cops there for the detail for the tournament knew, right? They don't know what the marking on the car means. They don't know that this guy's been told to go around so he can get in the parking lot.
Right.
It was just a huge misunderstanding that was handled very, very poorly by the officer in question. And eventually this is going to go away. But no, Scotty would never come forward. And I mean, you heard his interviews that same day. He didn't badmouth anybody.
No. Which he very clearly could have.
He could have. And you know what? His interaction with the police, the police department members that were there on the course that entire weekend, he was shaking their hands. They were high-fiving. He was, talking to them. And I thought that said a lot about him, like, man, I don't know what happened. I don't know why this how we got here. I'm just here to play golf. I want this to go away, Ridiculous. So it said a lot about, which we already knew Scotty Scheffler's a good dude. He's one of the best dudes on the tour. And he just happens to be the best player in the world. So, it'll go away.
Yeah. And I just, again, what are we doing with the Louisville Police Department that we still have knuckleheads like this running around? I mean, cops, listen, we're always very much supportive of law enforcement on this show. Always have been. I understand there are certain issues and things that happen that, clearly there was a fatality that morning. People were on edge, but you're a cop, man. You got to be better than this. You got to be better than this. You just can't, like, if you're going to rip somebody out of a car and throw them up against and handcuff them, you better have a damn good reason. And there's nothing in that video or anything that tells me that cop had a reason to do that.
Right.
And in that situation, he's just got to be better. He's got to be better. And clearly he was not. So Scotty Scheffler will certainly seem, and there was a lot of negativity I saw on Twitter, like, oh, these privileged golfers think they can do whatever they want. They have to abide by the rules like everybody else. And I'm like, no, that's not what happened here. That's definitely not what happened here. All right, before we bring on Corey Long, I just want to get into this NCAA thing and the fact that they're now paying players a little bit. And if you're a watcher of this show, we've been talking about this for a long, long time. When I first got into sports and was covering Florida State University back in the late 80s and early 90s, and very in tune with major college football and major college sports, and really got a chance. I was working for the FSU network as well. Got a chance to see kind of how the sausage was made on the inside and the outside of it as a journalist covering that, but also on the inside, seeing how the athletic departments work and how recruiting works and all these other things. And it's you come to the conclusion at a very early time, if you have any common sense and awareness at all, that something is not right here. Like, this is just, something is not right. There's a lot of rules that are going on with the NCAA and players accepting gifts and money that are not congruent with the ridiculous cash flow that is coming into these departments that is being produced by these players. And I'm like, when I'm watching a game on Sunday that looks a lot like the game on Saturday, but the guys on Sunday are getting paid a shiz ton of money, and the guys on Saturday ain't getting, in fact, are being kept from making any money. Can't have a job, can't sell their jerseys, can't sell an autograph, can't do any of this stuff. And I'm like, what the F is going on? I'm in here at a Fiesta Bowl hospitality room at the Scottsdale Princess, eating lobster and crab that I'm certainly not paying for, and the players are outside the room in the hallway and can't have any of it. I'm like, the only reason I'm here is because of you guys. You busting your ass and winning football games, but yet you're not allowed to walk into the hospitality room and pick up a soda. Like, something's not right here. Oh, but they gave you a gift bag with some headphones and a Walkman. Ooh, wow, that's nice. I mean, seriously, and this is why we're going to run $1 billion business? No. Oh, but they get a free education. You know what's interesting about that is those classrooms are being paid for by taxpayers. Yeah. They're going to be there anyway. It's not like there's these players are incurring some ridiculous expense to the universities to get their education. It's pretty much already paid for. It's pretty much already covered. And I'm like, and what kind of education are they really getting here? Because, as far as I can tell, a lot of, and of course, this isn't, exclusive to FSU. It's at every place. They really, I'm not really sure they care about their education, because they're kind of making them take a lot of classes just so they could get the practice on time and make good grades, So it's like, and what else happens when a guy gets injured? Suddenly he's not back the next year. And I don't know what happened to his scholarship, but that guy's just kind of, of course, guys did get injured and they would try to get them back, most of them, but sometimes guys would just fall by the wayside, and guys that they recruited that didn't play so well, sometimes they found, out that they weren't really wanted around there, and it just seemed like something is not right here and it needs to be corrected. And so through that, from that point to now, 40 years, basically 35 years later, we've finally gotten to the point where they've come to the realization that they have to pay the players. And you know what else they came to the realization of? That they're going to have to pay $2.6 billion with a B, because they haven't been paying the players, because that's what the courts have decided. And I've said this for a long time. You're going to be forced to do it by the legislatures or the courts. So if you're smart, you'll get ahead of it and do it yourself and start paying it. But these guys that run this thing are way too greedy. And they've tried to keep the status quo going for so long. And I think a lot of them who ran these operations were certainly, as that felt the same way I did, felt the exact same way that I did. But they're part of the process. And I think a lot of them have been trying to change the process for a very long time and have been, sounding the alarms for a very long time. But the people at the very, very top, were not listening and didn't want to. And to some degree, a lot of the fat cats, and I'm talking about the Alabamas, the FSUs of the world, and the Clemsons, and everybody else, the Floridas. Do you want to share all your revenue with Montana or with some of these other Division III schools? No, of course not.
Nope.
Because you need that money to win. I totally get that. So it's a business model that has been completely outdated and obsolete, and it has needed to be changed for quite some time. And unfortunately, we're having to go through this period of forced change by legislatures and courts that have now given the rights to these players where they've always existed to control their name, image, and likeness and make money off of it. And now they're going to have to go back and repay these players. And I don't even know what the mechanism is to do that, and how much these ex-players are going to get. Probably
how do you determine that? Yeah,
these guys are going to get a check for $37.40. The lawyers are going to take 40% of the settlement, which is ridiculous, but it'll happen. And unfortunately, these kids are not going to get repaid what they should have been repaid. And the only thing this is actually doing is forcing change where it needs to happen. And for that, I guess we're happy. And I know there's a lot of people out there that'll be like, oh, now it's the wild, wild west, and these kids are getting paid, and they're all going to be selfish. And these kids want to transfer schools and go get free agent money. Do I like that? No, I don't like that. But this is what's been forced upon them. Yeah. This is what's been forced upon them. If the adults in the room would have made changes along the way, we wouldn't have these issues. So even though I think a lot of that is selfish on their part, it's hard to point the finger at them for the disaster. We're going to blame the players because we have this wild, wild west that is the NIL. That seems kind of silly. They didn't make the rules. Yeah. They didn't screw this up. The adults did. The greedy adults. So I think, if you're blaming those and you're mad at those players, I think you better, kind of pump the brakes a little bit on that and see where this is headed.
So let me ask you this, since it's now going to be where the players are getting paid directly from the universities, from the programs that they play for. What's going to happen with NIL? Now, is NIL just going to turn into a, hey, we want you, we want to sponsor you? It's just like the pros, right? Where so-and-so Snickers wants to pay you $1 million to talk about their candy bar on your social media, just like it would if it was called NIL. Well, now it's just going to be called, you're a sponsor of me. Because that's all going to change now, because it's not necessary anymore, really.
Right. And which is scary, because guess where the power now goes back to? The universities.
The universities. Yeah.
But the NIL will still have to exist. I don't believe they're going to be able to take the NIL. This is going to be in addition to the NIL.
Sure.
And I think it will allow them to coalesce and bring everything together into something that is going to, as I talked to an former AD this morning, they've got to find a way to have a salary cap. They've got to find a way to have a salary cap and top these costs. And the other thing about this is Title IX will force them to pay the female athletes as much as they're paying the male athletes, which I don't have a huge problem with philosophically, but from a logistic standpoint, these big male programs are producing all the revenue. Although, women's basketball now is producing a significant amount of revenue, which is fantastic. But I think, we have to also keep in mind where most of the revenue is generated, most of that revenue needs to be returned to those players. And then on a sliding scale, start working, to continue to pay for these other programs that don't produce revenue. I'm not saying that, women have to, they're going to get the scraps. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that this needs to be, we need to work towards distributing revenue based on where it's coming from, like life, like capitalism, like everywhere else, in the American economy. allegedly.
Right. Yeah.
The way it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, Corey Long will join us. He'll have some thoughts and hopefully some answers on where this is heading. And then in the meantime, the lawsuits against coaches. What? In terms of recruiting, with the Jaden Rashada story, what is this going to mean for coaches and NIL and college recruiting? Very, very interesting stuff. We're presented by the great folks at Hydrate Heroes. By the way, Muggsy Bogues is going to join us today. The great Muggsy Bogues. We'll talk some Hydrate Heroes with him and also NBA playoffs. All the good stuff, none of the bad stuff, folks. Stay hydrated. Only 5 calories per serving. Tastes great. None of that added sugar. TryHydrateHeroes.com is the website. TryHydrateHeroes.com. Go there, sign up, get a free 3-pack, and then you'll want to buy a 30-pack like everybody else. TryHydrateHeroes.com. Back in 3. Stay with us. All right, guys, the Golden Diamond Source Memorial Day sale is here. Now, I know you guys are saying I don't have the money to buy a ring right now. Times are tough. What about this? 5-year interest-free financing, so you can buy a $5,000 ring and only pay $83 a month. You got $83 a month to put the ring on the finger of that special person. That's right, $5,000 ring, only $83 a month. So that's 5 years interest-free financing. And, of course, the Golden Diamond Source has the best selection. They have the best customer service. And when you shop at the Golden Diamond Source, you can proudly say our jewelry changes lives. We tell you this all the time, folks. The philanthropy of Julie and Steve Weintraub is incredible. Their entire staff very much involved in their philanthropy. The Hands Across the Bay charity helps so many abused women throughout the years. So this Memorial Day, pick a jewelry store that makes an impact. And don't miss their 5-year interest-free sale. It's the Golden Diamond Source, centrally located right there, 3800 Omerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. JP here for the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group and our good friend Jane Geddes. Folks, simply put, there is nobody like Jane. Jane is a former LPGA 2-time major championship winner. She was also vice president of talent relations at WWE. She also has a law degree from Stetson. So if Jane can drain a 10-footer to win the U.S. Open and stare down Hulk Hogan in the boardroom, you want Jane on your real estate team to not only negotiate the best deal, but find you the perfect home or investment property. And when you work with the Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of the real estate family and get concierge services that include expertly staging, marketing, and preparing your home for sale. Advice on golf properties. Hey, you might even get some golf tips. Many of their clients become friends long after the sale or purchase is completed. It's all part of the deal. So if you're looking for that perfect home or investment property or try to get top dollar for your home, go with Jane Geddes and the Geddes Gordon Group because there's nobody like Jane. Call 813-485-6808 or go to geddesgordon.kw.com. That's GEDDES Gordon.kw.com. or call 813-485-6808. Are you looking to be more productive and healthier? Do you know chronic dehydration affects your overall health and well-being? 75% of the U.S. population suffers from dehydration, and many of us don't even know it. That was me before I was introduced to Hydrate Heroes. 8 times the benefits with hydration. A beverage with benefits more than just hydration. That's right, 8 times the benefits with hydration. Hydrate Heroes provides a refreshing, great-tasting beverage powder to mix with water, providing elderberry, zinc, vitamin D, electrolytes, amla fruit, which provides a great source of vitamin C, along with a proprietary mushroom blend that has shown to help increase endurance and energy at the cellular level. Hydrate Heroes is so confident you're going to love the taste and the results. They are offering our listeners a special offer, a free 3-pack sample, no credit card needed. Just go to the jppetersonshow.com, the jppetersonshow.com, and click on Hydrate Heroes logo. Hydrate for health today with Hydrate Heroes.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the J.P. Peterson Show as we roll on this Friday, a historic Friday in the history of college sports. And the antitrust lawsuits have been settled, and now $2.7 billion going back to former players. I wonder who's getting a check for that and how much they're making. Let's welcome in Corey Long. Now, Corey, you played college ball, did you not?
A little bit, yeah. Back in my day.
Yeah. I think you're getting a check for your name, image.
No. That's
$37.14, part of the class action.
I would take it, but no, they're not taking care of us guys in the early to mid '90s. Unfortunately, we're just gonna have to settle with what we got originally, which was, I got a lot of nice at the time, nice track suits and some.
You get a Sony Walkman for the bowl game?
Oh God, what do we get for a bowl game? I don't even remember. I know I don't have it anymore. Actually, no, we had a portable CD player actually, which was a really good deal in like 1994, 95. That was actually solid.
Yeah.
Like it was solid. And the thing is, I think I had to go somewhere and get, I had no CDs with me, but I wanted to use it, because we had 4 or 5 more days. So I think I went out and I bought a Heavy D and the Boys or something.
That's what I'm talking about.
I bought some CD just so I could listen to something.
Yeah.
I was excited to have something to play in it, and yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't the worst gift I can think of.
Yeah, but you guys could have made a hell of a lot more money for what the universities were making off you, and I guess, and that's where we're at in this particular situation. $2.7 billion settlement that is supposed to, I guess, right the wrongs of years past, but it doesn't even come close. And listen, we've all enjoyed watching college football. Nobody, it's my favorite sport to watch. It's my favorite sport to attend. I just love every part of it. But I've always recognized from the early days that I covered the sport that something was wrong here. And, a lot of the money went under the table, which was, interesting. The market always takes care of itself, right? But now universities can pay the players. Just give me your opening statement here on this historic day, having been involved on a lot of different sides of college athletics.
Well, JP, we can go back to your days of, when you were working for 1010, and I was in there a lot. We talked about this, and I was always trying to be a rainy cloud over this, excitement about college football, because I knew the people that were the lot of unsavory people that were making a lot of money. I mean, you go back and read the Death to the BCS book. You can read about the various bowl organizers that were just running crap bowl, the International Bowl. And whoever this guy is pocketing millions of dollars for a bowl that's drawn 800 people.
Right.
And, and he's got the schools on the hook to pay some of this money because they dare want to bring their band. It's all right, you can bring your band, but give me $100,000. It's just how are these people allowed to get away with this? They've done nothing. They've contributed zero to the sport, and all they've done is take. So, you talk about that, and it's not just taking. It's the fact that they took and they held the money out in front of the players' faces and laughed about it. It couldn't have been more blatant and more vile the way they did it. It was, it's this idea, it's that old saying of, you work at a corporation, you help them, set revenue sharing records and they give you a pizza party. That's exactly what the players were getting, you know?
Yes.
They're just dragging all this money, more and more money this year, more and more notoriety. They're bringing more and more value, and they're basically getting a steak dinner after a spring game. This was their reward for this. So, you know, and you know, once things started to hit the fan, you know, okay, we'll give them unlimited snacks and like it's JetBlue, or we'll every year we'll get them a brand new locker. And someone's like, I'll take the 2019 lockers you had if you just give me some cash. How about that?
Yes. Yeah, and we're building bowling alleys, you know, at Clemson and hot tubs, humongous hot tubs at Alabama. And you're like, sure, this is great for recruiting, but, you know, how about let me pay my electric bill for my mom? How about that? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, there's the Duke Energy or wherever the hell you paying for it. Well, you know, I'm not getting paid by playing on this putt-putt course here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So things are changing, and maybe not in the best fashion. And as I mentioned earlier in the earlier segment, this is due. You know, people want to blame the athletes. I'm like, whoa. You know, we're here because the grown-ups couldn't get it right for 2 decades or 3 decades when they knew this was coming. So now we have NIL, and now we have situations like Jaden Rashada, who was promised $13 million and actually signed a contract to that, was promised, you know, and the Gators, and I'm not trying to pick on the Gators here because I think a lot of programs are doing this. But hey, just sign the letter of intent and then we'll send you $1 million. And he's like, send me the $1 million and I'll sign the letter of intent. And they're like, no. And then I guess he ended up signing it. And, you know, and to their credit, the Gators did not try to enforce it because they probably saw, you know, what was coming, a lawsuit. But now we have a quarterback at Georgia who now that's where he is now, filing a lawsuit against the head coach at Florida. Something doesn't feel right about this, where we're at right now. What effect does this have on college football and recruiting?
Well, I think you're hoping is that the settlement and, you know, and putting out what in essence is going to be, I guess, somewhere of a $20 million ish cap each year is going to buy some semblance of peace for a while. Players know they're going to get something. They're not going to have to necessarily – not everybody wants to go through the NIL like rigmarole to get this. Some do, but a lot of them don't. And for this reason, because they really didn't have a lot of protection against it. I know a little bit about the Rashada situation. Again, it feels like, you know, a booster. I don't want to say a booster gone rogue, but – people making promises they couldn't keep, and it leaves the program vulnerable is the problem. You know, it left the program vulnerable. Like, I'm sure, you know, I don't want to overstate or understate Billy Napier's position, but, you know, at this point, you know, you just kind of have to go with these things, you know. Boosters are getting involved. They're kind of cutting these third-party deals, and you got to kind of nod along and figure out, you know, how am I going to make this work for, you know, my program? So, you know, I think anything they could do at this point to kind of, you know, to kind of change what was happening with NIL, because you know, I never seen a group that just gets caught with their pants down so much. Like from the beginning of, hello?
Yeah, we got you. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. From the beginning of, you know, not really understanding that, you know, the power that they possess, that had they put in a situation, had they very simply put in a sharing plan where they could have controlled the payments, they could have controlled the year, you know, they could have paid you based on years of service. They could have attached academic requirements to this. They could have attached, you know, character requirements to this. You know, you can't get arrested. You can't like they really had the control.
Yeah.
And players, I think, would have been happy to accept just some nice peace offerings. The idea that this is the players' fault. Players never asked for this. They never asked for the wild, wild west. They did not ask for this. The NCAA decided, you know what, we're going to go to court because we'll win at court, and they lost at court, and they lost again, and they lost again, and they kept losing. And like they have, I mean, they're basically, I mean, they're basically like the Detroit Lions of whatever they want, winless in court. Like they just can't win any court level. Doesn't matter what president assigned a judge. You're just losing every time. It's the one thing that the justice system can agree on right now is that the NCAA loses
every time because it's so
every
corrupt.
time.
And this ought to tell people that the whole thing is so corrupt. Listen, and I'm not trying to destroy college football. I'm actually trying to save it. We're trying to save this thing from the idiots that have, been running this thing for so long. And it's just crazy. And your point is such a good one. They constantly look at what happened to Darrell Jackson. Darrell Jackson had to sit out the entire season here at Florida State, one of the best defensive linemen in the game, because he transferred too many times. And but every time you turned around, the NCAA was saying, "Okay, you can transfer," because they knew they had no standing in court. But they picked out this kid who went home to be closer to his mother and said, "No, you're going to be ineligible." And then as soon as the season's over, they changed the rule. And it's like, if anybody has a freaking court case against the NCAA, it's him, and he ought to sue their ass.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and it's curious to see who's gonna stay with this settlement. I expect most will take the settlement money. I think some are gonna opt out. You're gonna get some more. Like their legal problems are just beginning. I think they're hoping this settlement does, and it'll solve some of their problems. But my God, they've got a long way to go. I just, I mean, if you're on the NCAA legal team, you're billing them for hours for the next, you're billing them enough hours for the next 10 years because they've got a long way to go. Today was this deal was something they had to do. They had to stop the bleeding somewhere, and they're trying to, but it's too late now, but it's time that some of these guys, earn their money and figure out how they're going to do this. These guys that are, heading up these athletic departments, they've all got really nice MBAs from really highly accredited colleges across the globe. And big they can figure this out.
Yeah.
I mean, let's put that MBA from Duke or Northwestern to work now. Let's put those,
figure it out.
Let's put that Wharton School degree from work now. And another thing, don't think this didn't come around quickly when they realized that, schools were looking to Drew Weatherford to give them money. They're like, wait a second. I don't know if that private equity thing's going to work out like they hoped it did, especially, when you look at, in most cases, I mean, it's private equity is different. Like FSU or Clemson, using private equity to get out of a horrible ACC buyout is one thing because they can mark the revenue increases they're going to get to pay it back. Right. But this other situation, this is, it's like you're trying to, Western Michigan needs to float $100 million loan to remain in a competitive state. How are they going to pay that back? They don't get any media revenue.
Yeah, that's a dangerous situation. That's a dangerous situation.
It's not knocking the Weatherfords. I mean, whatever, business is business, but that's a dangerous situation because they can't never pay that back.
They'd have to go to their grotesque endowment that maybe Western Michigan doesn't have, but many of these other colleges do.
Michigan has. I mean, it's a boarding school. Their endowment is baked in PBR sales.
Yeah.
So
Well, don't disparage the PBR sales, my friend. So how does this have what effect do you think this has immediately on recruiting, on did the big boys still stay the big boys? That's probably where everything's heading, but how is there any immediate effect that it has on recruiting? Does it make it a level playing field truly for everybody now if there's a quote salary cap?
It could, depending on what level, how much of the football program, how much do you really want to have a good football program? Like, I was looking at the ACC's one of their newest residents, SMU. Boy, they'll tell me they ain't been waiting for this day for a long time.
They've got money, I know that. They've got money.
Exactly. You know, they've got, you know, if you look at some of their longtime you know, people that have went there, their alum, they have a direct line to the Saudi Public Fund. Do you realize that?
I did realize that. I did read that, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
And that's why when the ACC said, hey, you can come in, but we're not going to give you revenue for 2 or 3 years, they're like, whatever.
Whatever. Yeah, we're good.
We're good. We just want the platform. That's all. We good.
You think LIV golf pays well? Wait till the LIV NIL program gets started. You know, oh my God.
And when player, you think players will jump? You think they'll stay loyal?
They're gonna stay loyal. They're gonna be as loyal as we are to the paycheck, basically.
Exactly. Wait a minute, I'm getting nothing over here, and you're gonna offer me $100 million? Okay, I'm gonna take the $100 million. Oh, but it's dirty money. Oh yeah, let me bathe in that dirty money, baby. Yes.
Exactly. They're learning the grown-up games really fast. So yeah, I think you've got some groups that are really well organized, and you've seen them. Some that have a lot of money, like Ohio State or Michigan, you know, just crawling in money. Some like, you know, I'll give FSU credit, who have just been very well organized with this, with this whole NIL. They've really had a great you know, they've really attacked all of these changes with very good organization and having a very good foundation from, you know, bottom up people that know what they're doing, that, you know, that have great synergy, you know, with the athletic program, especially the football program. And, you know, they're making it work, and they're going to be fine. It's you know, a lot of schools just need to get their stuff together. And I actually think for them, having a number like this helps them out a little bit, you know, because instead of having that budget be 5 question marks, now we've got a number. And we'll see where it goes. You know, there's a lot of things that get shaken down. We'll see if the cap is larger for the SEC and Big Ten schools than it is for the other schools. Right. You know, because they can flex their muscle like that. Or, you know, we'll see if, you know, I mean, the new athletic director in the American Conference is really serious about wanting to put together a playoff for G5 programs and really see if they can if they can take their product and draw more revenue than what, you know, they're getting out of the college football playoff, which is nothing basically. I mean, I think they could get more than what they're getting out of CFP. Definitely.
Yes.
Like
absolutely.
There's no doubt in my mind. There are too many networks and streamers that are looking for live sports right now to where they cannot. That's right. But we've got a viable product we can sell. Kids from this league do go to the NFL. There are stars, you know, there are players in this league that people want to watch. So, you know, we're fine. A lot of those schools like USF have, you know, enrollments of 40, 50,000 students. Right. So yeah, we can bring in some level of viewership. So yeah, I think it opens up the door to a lot of things. Some of which are going to be great for college football. Some of which are going to be tough for the traditionalists to deal with. But this day was coming, and because the people in charge were so comfortable taking all of the money, it took a long time to come, and the judgment was a lot more painful than it would have been had they, been a lot more proactive.
Totally agree. Tim, you have any thoughts on this? I want to give you a moment to jump in on this, especially from the Southwest Conference.
Oh man.
Perspective.
Yeah, how much money do they owe? Boy. How much money are they going to owe Eric Dickerson and Craig James from the '83 SMU Mustangs team that they buried, and all those other players? No, this is something I never thought I would see in my lifetime. I'll be very honest with you. I never thought I would see this. Not that I didn't want it. Obviously, it's deserved. But Corey, I mean, is this something that you saw coming, or that you thought we would see anytime in this, in this so soon in our presence here?
It had to happen eventually, especially once leagues started touting their media deals. Like once you start bragging about making like here's the Big Ten year, the SEC, you're getting these $500 million annual TV contracts. Once you start making that part of your sales pitch, the right minds are going to wonder where the heck is that money coming from? You know, wait a second. How much are we really worth? And,
Right,
you know,
right.
they're going to find it now. So, you know, there was a time ago, you talk about the Southwestern Conference. There was a time ago when Barry Switzer was the highest paid coach in college football. He's making $75,000 a year.
Yeah.
$75,000 a year barely gets you an intern these days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you know, coaches having these exorbitant salaries. And I'm not talking about the Dabo Sweeneys. I'm talking about the strength coaches out there busting $500,000 a year now. Like
$1 million.
It's
The dude at Alabama was making $1.3 million.
yeah.
He's
the
a
dude
strength
in
coach.
Miami with the stupid mustache is making like $1 million. Like all these guys.
And listen, and the thing of the matter, you know why they make that much? Because they're in demand, and they're a winning part of the formula. So it's like from a business standpoint, it's one of the few places where I go, you know what? He's probably worth the money, but but it's absurd. But it's absurd to say that he's worth the money, and the guy that he's training is not. It's like, wait a minute, something's a little backwards here. That's the guy that has 17.5 sacks, not the dude telling you how many reps you need to do on the bench press. So, you know, and as I think of it from a historic standpoint, I think the first time I read about the Ed O'Bannon case, I went, oh, you know, he really does have a good point. And for those of you who don't know what the Ed O'Bannon case was, it was about video games, right?
Video games,
He was playing a video game, and of course, I'm not a video game person, but one of the college sports video games, and he was choosing himself and watching himself and going, how much did I had to pay for this video game? How much is EA Sports making off this video game? And like, I'm not getting paid. What the F's going on here? Who's making the money? And the worst part about it is, instead of taking that money and paying the players, then they shut down the sports. They shut down the game, and they're just bringing it back.
The game. It's been over a decade now. They haven't had a college football game. It's been longer since they haven't had a college basketball game.
That revenue could have gone to the players.
Yeah.
All that revenue could have gone to the players, but they chose to just not even take the revenue. How selfish is that?
These are the proactive things we talk about. Had they done these things, had they stepped up you know what? Let's just put EA on the hook for some of this money.
Yes.
The players were not making anything. They would have been happy making something.
Anything. You could have said right at that point, hey, let's keep the game going, and all the money from EA Sports we're going to divert to a players and athletes fund. Right there. It wouldn't even have come out of their freaking pocket.
No.
And then they just forego all that revenue and just say F you. Just unbelievable.
Yeah, I can't believe I can't believe it got to this point. I think when Miles Brand was the head of the NCAA, and you know, I think he was one of the guys that kind of got it, but I think there were so many people still within that organization that were just so hell bent against it that he just couldn't really get as far as he wanted to. You know, you feel like over time there were some people that kind of got it, like, okay, what we're doing isn't going to work forever. So let's figure out a way to, you know, so we don't have to go through what we're going through right now. But, you know, there's just a lot of there are a lot of quote unquote, as they call them, greedy purists, you know?
Yeah.
They're purists because it's best for them.
Yes, exactly. All right, Corey. Well, listen, thanks for your perspective. Appreciate you jumping on with us. It's an interesting time to be covering college sports, that's for sure. And having with all of us watch this, it's interesting to see it come kind of full circle. But appreciate your time, partner. You can follow Corey on Twitter at Corey Long, CoreyLong, covering the Bolts, college football, all kinds of great stuff. So give him a follow. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you very much. You take care.
Yeah. It's the old Pony Express, baby. That's when the business was being run correctly, but the players were being paid.
Man, and I know he probably made more. Eric Dickerson made more money his final year at SMU than he did his rookie year at the Colts?
The Colts, probably. Yeah.
But you know what's funny is I remember growing up an Aggies fan. My dad played football at A&M, of course, and so raised me and my brother as Aggies fans. And I remember him. This is when the SMU Mustangs played at Texas Stadium in the early '80s. They weren't playing at the Cotton Bowl, and my dad talked this game up, SMU and the Aggies. Gary Kubiak was the quarterback of the Aggies back then, the top passer in the Southwest Conference at the time.
Yeah.
Just talking about all he did was tout up the Aggies offense. You know, it's going to be better than the Mustangs Pony Express offense, and the Aggies are going to dominate that game. Gary Kubiak goes out on the first play from scrimmage and breaks his leg. So the Aggies went down that day, I think 48-3 to Eric Dickerson, Craig James, and the Mustangs. And my dad wasn't a happy kid. And on top of that, the Aggie band, who's the most perfect college band of all time, world famous, screwed up their routine at halftime. So that,
that's a bad day.
Yeah, dude, my dad's like, I may never go to another Aggie.
You think one of those SMU players was paid to break Gary Kubiak's leg?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. There's no question.
That's old school. I'd like to see the film of that tackle. I'd like to see that.
Dude, it was very reminiscent of the play in the playoffs that when the Cowboys running back Tony Pollard broke his leg. Yeah. And I guess the Dak broken leg grew something against the Giants, so we kind of get tackled from behind. Yeah. And the player falls on his back of his legs. Ooh. Yeah, very similar to that, and it was just
he got a nice little envelope in his locker though after the game for sure.
Yeah. There's no question.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side. Wayne Hogan's going to join us, former athletic director at Montana, assistant athletic director at Georgia Tech and Florida State. So he's got a great perspective through all these years as well. So we'll chat with him. And then Muggsy Bogues is going to join us at 11:30 to talk about the NBA playoffs and Hydrate Heroes and some of the events he has going on with our military on this Memorial Day weekend. Lots more coming up. We're brought to you by the great folks at Extravaganza Productions. If you have an event coming up, big or large, they will run it for you. Great professionals in the audiovisual and creative world. You can get a free creative meeting with the folks at Extravaganza Productions by just going to their website, Extravaganza Productions, email them or call them, tell them you heard it on the JP show, and go on in there and take a tour of the whole warehouse there and check out all their props. Extravaganzaproductions.com. Back at 3. Stay with us.
You're listening to The Strike. 102.5 WHPT HD2 Sarasota, Tampa, St. Pete.
JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man Scott Jeeves, who lives right here and has long been a highly respected member of our community. He's a proud sponsor of the Tampa Riverwalk. Jeeves Law Group is also a proud sponsor of our Grand Central District in St. Pete and has neighborhood events throughout the year. He has an office on Central Avenue in St. Pete and one on South Howard in Tampa. You can't get more local than that. So when you need an attorney, you're going to hire some huge firm that advertises all over the state or the one that supports your favorite sports show. It's the Jeeves Law Group. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. For personal injury and personal attention, call us for a free case evaluation. That's 8889-JEEVES. That's 8889-JEEVES.
All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com.
JP here for Extravaganza Productions. I've worked with these pros on so many big and small events. They recently did the Kappa Alpha Psi Grand Reunion, the Tampa RV Show Exhibit. They did the Skills Center opening of Tampa Bay. They can do those small events. They do the biggest of events. So if you were thinking about planning a meeting or special event, call the talented staff at Team EPI. They will give you a free creative meeting if you mention the JP Peterson Show. They will provide you with an exceptional experience. Heck, they'll even show you their huge warehouse with great props. Anything you want. They'll do it on time and on budget. You can reach them at their Tampa headquarters at 813-621-4700 or go to extravaganzaproductions.com. Tell them JP sent you.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here as we roll on this Friday. We're going to chat with the great Muggsy Bogues. Remember him?
Think he can still dunk?
I don't know. He's guy's probably almost my age, probably mid-50s, I would think.
Oh, easy. Yeah, easy.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll ask him. I don't know. He still looks like he's in great shape. So.
I think Spud can still dunk.
Oh, Spud Webb and Muggsy Bogues. Wow, those are dudes that really defied all the odds. You're 5'3" and playing in the NBA. Come on, man. That's
ridiculous, isn't it?
Insane.
And fun to watch, man. Both of those guys were just incredibly fun to watch.
Absolutely. All right. Our big thanks to our good friends at the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. As we appreciate them. Just contact them through the website. Tell them you heard on the JP Show, and they'll give you a free case evaluation. A couple other things. Bucks notes as they continue OTAs. Tyke Smith, nice write-up from Rick Stroud in the Times about his potential impact on the Bucks this year. They've got. I tell you what, when you look at the guys that they brought in, and Bryce Hall and Tyke Smith, and obviously Jordan Whitehead from the Jets. I mean, that is a formidable group that they brought in of new blood in their secondary. That I think is going to make a huge improvement in their defense, because their passing defense cost them a few games last year, and probably a chance to advance in the playoffs as well. So looking forward to. I'm gonna try to go out there on Tuesday, and maybe we'll do our show from out there. And I'm trying to look at the timing so I can get out there and see some of these new players and kind of watch them go through all the OTA stuff, because they give us a nice opportunity to watch.
Good group, man. It is a good looking group from top to bottom for me, man. Elijah Klein, Devin Culp, the 7th round pick, the tight end. I like all of these guys, man.
Yeah, they all seem to have special talents that fit perfectly into what they need at that particular position. And Klein could be, 6th round pick. You can find those offensive linemen sometimes, that were he played at UTEP, so the kids in Texas, they're growing big.
They do.
He really
He's a big one.
Yeah, he stood out. All right, let's welcome in a longtime friend. I've been working with this gentleman for longer than I care to admit. The great Wayne Hogan joins me at my first job in television. Wayne was the SID at Florida State University, and it was an eye-opening experience for me, Wayne. Welcome to the show to see what big-time college sports was all about from the inside out.
JP, you're a true American story. You went from carrying your own equipment, your camera, your tripod, your microphone, your lighting, all by yourself, and you did interviews by yourself. And, I never understood how you did that. You were quite ambidextrous in those days. And it was, so you go from that to being the sports director at one of the top television stations in America.
Yeah.
And, working with all those good people over there, my friend Gail Sirens. And now look at you. You just retired doing radio. That's pretty good.
It's a good gig here. I hang out at my house. I get to talk to fun folks like yourself. And we got Muggsy Bogues coming on after you. So it's a fun gig. We thank all our advertisers that let us do this stuff. So we appreciate it. Well, I mean, it was the people that you and I have come to know over the years through college sports, the Derek Brookses, Warwick Dunns of the world, Charlie Ward, going back to those days. These are guys that, obviously have made their mark not just in Tallahassee, but on the NFL and the NBA and everywhere. And I just think we got a special privilege to watch them kind of grow up into men, right? And through this whole process of college sports.
No doubt. Well, it's I've had a lot of time to think about this, and the older you get, you do a lot more thinking. And I don't know if it arrives at anything, but here's my take on all of this. Our society was pretty much built on perseverance and patience. From the time you started kindergarten, first grade, it was a long haul. You knew you had 12 years of school in front of you, and you just had to persevere it. You didn't like it all the time, but that's what you did. And what you did was you grew and you got better and you got smarter and you got stronger and you made it through those years up through the 12th grade. If you happen to be an athlete of any consequence, you would have a chance to go on and go to college. And what did you do there? You had to have patience and perseverance. You didn't
Make
come
a
in
lot
the
of good
first day
choices.
and get everything handed to you. Now you had a nice life. The best part was you came in, you got all the food you could ever eat, the best medical care you could ever have. You had a place to live at no charge, all of those things. And you had the greatest coaches ever. So you persevered that. You a lot of times you didn't start when you first got there, and you were trying to become a starter and all of that, and you just had to have patience. It was all built around that because
wait your turn.
The goal was out there. The goal was there. If your whole attitude was that you wanted to be rich and make a lot of money, you could do that, but it was out in front of you, and you had to do all these other things first before you could get there. And you know what? All those other things you did made you better, made you a better person, made you a better player, made you a better friend, a better teammate. And then you had persevered all that. And then if you were good enough, you'd go and make millions of dollars and go off in life. But that was the way that it always worked. Well, we've blown that up. We've blown it up starting from the elementary schools. We're now got, third graders with cell phones and second graders playing video games. Mom and dad are buying them $600 video games. There's no more patience. There's no more call for patience. So I went through that whole thing to say that's what's happening in college sports. They've blown up the model because nobody's willing to go through the process. They want to get to the money, and they want to get to it now. It's not out in front. It's we want it now. And it's greed. It's awful greed. I've seen it. I've seen it among college athletics administrators, college presidents, commissioners. When we started paying our coaches $10 million a year,
right?
You start paying offensive line coaches $2 million a year. Look, I was in the business. I know these people. I know who they are, and I know their qualifications, and I know the kind of people they are. I ain't met an I hate to say this. I shouldn't say it. I don't know if I ever met an offensive line coach that was worth $2 million a year. I'm just saying. And that's not.
And I love some of them.
Line. Yeah. I love offensive linemen. Don't get me wrong. But it's the principle of the thing of where we got to. And so once that started happening, and once we started building athletic complexes with movie theaters in them and swimming pools in them, one day these 18-year-old kids woke up and said, "Hey, I need a piece of that pie."
Right.
And once that's so you can't put that genie back in the bottle.
Wayne, do you think that this is something that's going to contribute to the growth of college athletics, or something that's going to ultimately begin the demise of this as a thing?
Well, I think it's no longer going to be college athletics as we know it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the only thing that's going to resemble college athletics is the name of the school on the front of the jersey.
Yep.
Everything else underneath that is going to be gone. And this idea that we can go out and bid for players, you can, as I read that story, I mean, the ultimate is you're going to be able to go out and offer money to recruits, and it's going to be wide open. As a lot of people say, it's the Wild Wild West, and it will become the Wild Wild West. So I don't even know how to answer that question. Is it a demise or is it a reset?
I think it's a drastic reset.
Yeah.
And, Wayne, what strikes me is you're open there. You espouse the virtues of the system as it used to work. There were good things in that system. There were really, really good things. And I think, what happened was, and you saw this happen, and you said it perfectly, people got greedy at the top. And probably even some well-intended people, like, we need more money to give these kids better stuff and better. But it got bastardized along the way, somehow, some way. And I appreciate you bringing that, because we love that system. There's nothing, those days covering Florida State and Bobby Bowden and those players that I met through those, those are the greatest days of my life. And I cherish that and that system. But even when I was covering it, and then you were in it, we all knew something ain't right here. Like, these players need to get more. The NCAA, to me, was the issue. I mean, some of these rules were just so ridiculous. And you, even as an athletic director, you're like, what are we doing? Like, take me through that mindset. You're, as an athletic director, you know damn well that these players need to get something, and you can't even give them a freaking hamburger at certain situations.
Yeah, and that's another thing. That, it's like turning around a big cruise ship, the Queen Mary or something. Those rules get on the books, and you can't. And it takes a miracle to change them. And there were so many draconian rules that you just followed, and those were tough times. But and then once it changed, I mean, once we basically threw away the rule book, there is no more rule book.
Right, right, exactly.
It doesn't exist anymore. So we saw that, but again, you're right. And I was part of that. When I was in my last year in college athletics was 2013. I was at Georgia Tech at the time, and JP, I will promise you, we spent 75% of our work time figuring out how to generate more money.
Yeah.
We were chasing money. I worked for Dan Radakovich, one of the best athletic directors that I've ever seen.
At Miami.
All he wanted to do was see spreadsheets on how we can create revenue. Here I am. I'm a PR guy. I do things. I wouldn't know a spreadsheet from the daily newspaper. So he's asking me for spreadsheets on, how much. One time I went and pitched to him that I thought at Georgia Tech, I thought we should do some advertising with the Braves.
Yeah.
In the Braves ballpark, and that we should have, maybe have some signage, maybe have a day where we could take the Ramblin' Wreck out, the car out there and drive it around.
Seems like a great idea.
It was a fantastic idea, if I do say so myself. The Braves loved it. We loved it. And Radakovich, all he wanted to know is how many tickets did we sell from that promotion? Can you quantify how many tickets we sold? Because I would tell him, look at all the exposure we're getting.
Yeah.
But his mindset was, what does that mean for my bottom line?
Right.
We spent X number of dollars on the promotion. Did we even make back in ticket sales or other kinds of residuals? Did we even make that back? So I was part of that. I was part of the money grab. I didn't like it.
Right.
I didn't like it. It wasn't my deal. I was into a whole bunch of other communication.
Well, branding brings ticket sales. We know that. So, but it's often hard to quantify dollar for dollar on a return on investment. So, and he's under pressure to produce more revenue, to get to pay for more things, to give more, to get better facilities, to recruit better athletes, to win more championships, because that's how you're judged, right? So the whole damn thing seems to have been bastardized. I often say, this all started back in the early 1900s when, the folks from Gainesville, called up the folks from Tallahassee and said, hey, we got a rugby team. Let's meet in Lake City and see how it goes. And, and we, a few families showed up. Somebody said, hey, I could sell popcorn here, might make a few dollars. And now from that, we have this, we're going to wear we have pride with our Seminole jerseys and Gator jerseys. And that's how it all started. And now you've got, $1 billion TV contracts. So things have to change. And so I think at this point, as you look forward and how all this works, what is there? Does there need to be a czar, a commissioner? Do these Power 5 programs have to all get together and say, all right, let's just blow the whole damn thing up, take the football and basketball programs out of the athletic department so you're not maybe encumbered by some other legalities, and just become a fundraiser for the athletic departments? And you're going to run these two high revenue sports like pro sports leagues with salary caps and unionization and all that stuff. And we'll just pour the money back into the universities. We'll still play on campus. And that, to me, that's a model that's been put out there that makes the most sense to me. What about from your standpoint? Is that something we're going to see?
Well, I think it is something we're going to see, but going back to your very first thought in that comment you made, and that is, I still don't think there's been a solid idea about what an infrastructure looks like. What is the leadership structure going to look like?
Right.
Is right now it's the guy that's heading up the NCAA, who I hear is a great guy and a smart guy, and maybe the right guy to kind of be the czar, as you say. And then you've got 5 conference commissioners that are kind of the cardinals in the church.
Yeah.
And they're running this by committee. And the infrastructure is very important, but again, it's such an unwieldy beast. You know
Right.
that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
how is this going to be contained, controlled? Are we just going to, if you're just going to say the school that has the most money is going to get the better players and going to win the most games? I mean,
Nobody wants that.
That's just not going to be good. Now, if there's somebody mentioned revenue sharing, I mean, is that something you've seen?
Yeah, and it has to be. It has to be if you want, because the NCAA has always existed to what? Basically, make it a level playing field for everybody, right? The recruiting rules, and then we're going to dole out the money based on who wins. We're going to have conferences, and the conferences are going to share money. So that's the ultimate goal, is to make it a level playing field. And the only way to do that is to blow the whole thing up, rewrite all these, conferences into hopefully geographical things that make sense, and renew old rivalries, which I think makes sense. And then, you take that group of schools and they become, an upper echelon and maybe a lower echelon. And maybe there's a relegation that you can move up and down, kind of like soccer. I don't know, but I think that's what's going to have to happen. You're going to have to. And what that means is these bigger revenue teams like Alabama and Georgia and Florida State are going to have to give up some of their revenue for the whole. And that's the problem. They don't want to do that. Everybody wants to keep what's theirs and stay on top. They don't want to share. So
I see bad things. I see bad things coming on all of those fronts. Bad thing, because what happens is the more money that comes pouring in, which is happening now.
Yes,
it leads to those that greedy underbelly, and that's what you're going to.
SEC is going to want to keep theirs. The Big Ten's going to want to keep theirs, and if you're going to make a level playing field for everybody, you got to share. Just like they do in the NFL. And
I could not be happier to be out of it right now, not in the middle of it. I still enjoy watching it to a degree, although I think that's even becoming less and less to me. I don't cherish my Saturdays the way I once did. I actually learned that there's actually other things you can do on a Saturday than sit in front of your TV for 8 hours.
How dare you? How dare you go fishing?
I don't know what it is then. I don't know
golf,
what it is.
You're talking golf. Hell, I'll go to a festival sometimes rather than that. Watch some of the stuff I've got to watch. But So if anybody that can see the future, I don't know. I don't have any great hope that this is going to end well.
Well, it's not going away. They're not going to stop playing college football because there's way too much money.
Now that we're in this process, and now that you got $3 billion floating around and all of that, and we're settling lawsuits and whatever, I see the next 5 years being completely tumultuous.
Yeah, it's going to be
really
bananas.
I really do.
Well, listen, Wayne, I appreciate your time and your perspective. That was really helpful. And let's stay close and figure out as this thing goes along the way if they're doing it the right way. So appreciate your time, partner.
Guys, it's patience and perseverance. Remember that.
Yes. Yeah. That's old school stuff right there. I don't know if people are all ready for those traditional values, man.
People don't like patience these days.
What am I, Harrison Butker now, or what?
I think you are. You're out. You're canceled. See ya. Thanks, Wayne. Appreciate it, buddy. All right. Well, let's just transition right from that to two great men who join us each and every week. At least Michael Gardner does from Hydrate Heroes, and he's got a good friend with him this morning, Muggsy Bogues. What's up, guys? How are you?
I'm good, man.
Well, I'll let you know how Muggsy's doing. He's doing better than good. He's about to play golf, so we got him right before he hit the course. So, it must be nice. But to kind of segue into that with what Wayne said, when you look at the definition of perseverance. This guy right here,
Oh my God,
man, he's the guy, right? Like, if people don't know Muggsy's story, and I'm just blessed to have him part of our team and being an equity partner. He joined the team a few months ago, and just blessed to have him. But again, with us going into Memorial Day weekend, and remembering our heroes and our fallen heroes, it really ties into a lot. I'm actually on my way back from Tennessee right now. We're at Fort Campbell. We did a product launch there, and just
nice.
the whole base loves the product, Hydrate Heroes. And when Muggsy came and got involved with us, I want to highlight who he is as a hero, because it's not what he did in the NBA, it's what he's doing off the court now with his foundation and these kids and the military, and also food insecurity. So, man, I'm going to shut up. Muggsy, it's all you, man. Let me pass.
We'll
the
come
ball
back to you.
Let
We'll
me
come
dish
back
it
to you,
off.
Michael, at the end. But let's get to Muggsy now, because he's got a tea time. We
Yeah.
got to get you too. Muggsy, thanks so much for joining us, and tell us a little bit about the events you got coming up with your foundation.
Thank you for that legway. Mike do not like to pass, so I truly appreciate that assist. He just,
Man, hey, this is not Starks right here.
Go ahead, Muggsy.
I'm truly to be honored and thankful and blessed to be part of Hydrate Hero, because all what they do, and I know Mike touched on about all the things that I've accomplished, my perseverance and so forth. I understand that old school thinking, because that's what it took for me in order to accomplish my dreams. But now that I was able to do so, and now I'm in a position to kind of help and educate our community, especially with our youth, in terms of how the intake and the things that they put in their body and so forth to be healthy as they possibly move on and transition through their dreams as they move forward. So being able to partner with Hydrate Hero and having this product out there to be able to tell these kids, because one of the things that we have in our youth right now is the obesity. That youth with obesity, we have so much where, and I grew up in the era of Kool-Aid, that Kool-Aid and all that, trying to put that, we got just such a great flavor in this Hydrate Hero where it just tastes just like Kool-Aid, but it's more healthier for your body. So being able to have this, being part of this, going around the world and educating our kids to be able to drink healthy, eat healthy, and ultimately you will be healthy. So I'm just able to be fortunate to do that. And with my program, in terms of, the Muggsy Bogues Family Foundation, I have a camp that's coming up, but our issues are more or less catered to food insecurities, where we provide that type of platform for those less unfortunate, those that's enduring, that don't have that type of access to be able to have those products and those foods to them on the bill. So our family kind of provide that type of service along with, the education component, where we provide scholarship for kids who have an ambition to go to trade school. Everybody can't go to that 4-year university. So being to work with your hands and have ability to take care of your family and other means.
Absolutely.
Trying to provide for. So this camp that we have coming in June the 17th, which is more of a self-esteem camp to give kids the opportunity to believe in themselves. And we're going to have this product on hand, this hydration hero, where they can stay hydrated.
Yep.
It's going to be very hot. And we need to make sure these kids, have enough, fluids, enough electrolytes in their body. They can be able to perform at their highest level. So I'm just grateful to be here with this young man, Mike. I call him young. He's my elderman.
I am no. Get that. No, don't even go there, man. Come on,
Muggsy. I got to get your take on a couple things before we get you out of here to the golf course. Number one, we were talking about this before you came on, that now college players are going to be able to pay by their universities. You played in the ACC at Wake Forest in front of, hundreds of thousands of people in packed arenas, and they gave you a great education. There's no question about that. But I think it's only fair that these players start to enjoy a little bit more of what they're producing in terms of, even back when you played, they were producing money, but now it's billions and billions of dollars. So what's your whole take on players getting paid in college?
Well, I'm happy that point. I think they need to kind of bring it down to a minimum to kind of get a hold of it, I believe. But very grateful that they came to this decision, because, a lot of these collegiate players, they're in a position where after their seasons are over, they can't work. Where just a normal student can actually continue, to provide some type of income for them, help their financial status. But the athletes can't do that. But I really appreciate that because the gaming has gotten so big, as I just mentioned, gaming. The gaming aspect, the licensing part of it, the proceeds is really off the chart. Where those dollars are starting to accumulate for these type of programs. So I'm happy that they're able to award these kids, but I think they need to kind of, reel it in to make it kind of have some sort of control of it because it is getting out of hand to a degree.
Yep.
The playing field is not an equal playing field where a lot of schools have, almost a $1 billion endowment to where they go out there and buy these athletes. So hopefully they can get to a point where it could really, get a hold, still can reward these athletes.
Totally agree. And hopefully that the smarter people can put this together. And this NBA playoffs that's going on, partner, I am absolutely engaged and enthralled in this because, no disrespect to the elder players in the league, but these new kids, Anthony Edwards and Jalen Brunson and Luka and all this newer generation, they have me captivated by these playoffs. What are your thoughts on what you're seeing?
Well, it's no different from any generation. It's time. It's a time limit on everything. And
right.
I'm loving the new regime that's coming up with the Jalen Brunson you alluded to, Jalen Brown, the Tatums, the Ant-Man. Love those. You just love their maturity and their willingness to put this on their shoulders in terms of want to be one of the faces. Because it has meant so much in 75 years where we only had, 5,500 players that have came through, this league, this great league that we have. And watching and witness it, you alluded, we're going to be champion. Those names that we heard in the past, the Currys, the LeBron James, the Durants, we're not going to hear that name at the end of this, playoff.
That's right.
And that's the beauty of it. Anthony Towns, is coming along. So you love to see this type of performance. I'm quite sure the NBA is really, enjoying this time of year, knowing that we got new teams, new stars type to arise to take on the face of this league.
Well, Muggsy, appreciate you, my man. Go tee it up and have a good day out there on the golf course. We thank you for your time and all that you're doing with Hydrate Heroes and your family foundation. We'll get the word out on those events and put the out on social media for you, buddy. Appreciate it.
Real quick, Muggsy, before you leave, when you mentioned about the camp coming up, it's about self-esteem, and I don't know if people know about the documentary that was done on your life story, and what was it? It was Believe, right? That was the name of it.
Always Believe, yes.
I'm gonna have to go check that out.
You have to check it out, JP. It was like, man, I knew of Muggsy and I knew a little bit, but to really watch this, I think, and actually they're making a motion picture on this now, right?
They are really making a motion picture. They're in development stages right now.
That's awesome. You're gonna have your own movie. All right, let's go. Well deserved, my friend. It's one of the greatest stories in the history of sports. So, thank you very much. I'm gonna go check out that documentary too. Always Believe.
It's super good.
Hopefully it's on Netflix or somewhere I can get it, or we'll watch it on YouTube. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it.
All right, guys. Y'all have a good one.
All right. Michael, you got a great partner there. He is something else, man.
Class act. And just good guy. And I'm super excited about the foundation. And again, bringing light to, food insecurity with his foundation and participating in that. And, especially over this weekend, just it's humbling because when you look at, our freedom and what we do have and not taking things for granted, it just, that's what it's about at the end of the day, JP, and our team. And, I'm just blessed to have, the right partners coming. And I met Muggsy organically, and, him and I just clicked and he loved what we were doing. And that's how kind of like, we talk about you and I meeting just organically. And that's when, you're in service, you're in purpose. And, I'm just excited about this weekend and just, everybody just remember our fallen heroes and just enjoy this Memorial Day weekend. And just, as you're cooking out and everything, just think about those that are less fortunate and, stay grounded, man, stay humble.
Yeah. Memorial Day and Veterans Day. And, we talk about what we can do, and what we can actually do things to help these these families. What you guys are doing, donating 15% of your sales to these veteran causes, these great charities that we try to highlight each and every Friday.
Yeah.
It makes a difference, and that's why we're putting these heroes on. They're doing things. It's not just talking about it, man. They're doing things.
Yeah.
You know, Muggsy's Family Foundation, what you're doing, all the people we've had on in the previous weeks that are working with kids and food insecurity and helping veteran businesses. That's what we talked about last week. To hire veteran businesses to whatever, where you need a repair or you need a contractor or you need whatever, veteran businesses, you can go to them and support them. And that helps. Now, obviously Memorial Day, we mourn those who we've lost. And I mean, it's literally the ultimate sacrifice. And I think we owe them, I don't want to get too political here, but this is a very important time in our country's history, and a lot of things are being threatened. And you can, whatever political side you want to be on, I think we can all notice that there are things going on that should not be going on, and we need to speak up about it and do things about it and that honors the memory of those who have fought for these things.
And I think to that point, JP, and like you said, it's not about politics. There's only one side you should be on, as far as I'm concerned, in this country, and that's the United States of America. Yeah. That's the side we need to all be on. And everybody has to be. I've shared it before, and it's be healthy, be happy, be hydrated. What should be might be is be united, and that's what this whole theme and this movement is. In my, for me, that's my passion, to bring people together, use health and wellness as a platform, working with these heroes and. Coming from Fort Campbell up in Tennessee, I mean, these guys, and our fellow soldiers, women and men, just so committed, and sometimes, I gotta be honest, sometimes you take it for granted. I think we all do.
Oh yeah, we do.
And again, during the holiday season,
and now you can't. Those values are at stake right now, and very much so.
100%.
Open your eyes, look at what's happening. See that it's different from years past, and it's
service. It could just be your neighbor. Especially with these kids, and that's why I'm excited, with Muggsy's event coming up, and inspiration for the, everybody. I think we all need that bright light. And sports is a freedom. We're allowed to enjoy sports because of our heroes.
That's right.
Let's don't take that for granted. So
it's very important. And freedom of speech. Freedom of religion, freedom of the Second Amendment to bear arms. These are all very important freedoms that I believe in, and I think a lot of them are very much, especially the freedom of speech, are under assault. And our heroes died for that. They died for that, those beliefs. So I think it's incumbent upon us to stand up for those in the ways you think you should. So all right, partner.
Well, I appreciate you, buddy. Hey, let's try to get on the course soon, man.
Yeah, you coming back to town?
I'm actually on my way right now. So
all right.
We have an event. Actually, just a little reminder for everyone. Our event's tomorrow with our Eat Healthy, Drink Healthy, Be Healthy at Bicentennial Park with the Run for Health event with the kids there, and we're super excited about that. So I'm going from Fort Campbell, Tennessee, down back to Oldsmar at the Bicentennial Park tomorrow. It starts at 11 o'clock. So if you have you're out and about, come on over. And if you have any kids between the ages of 7 and 13, I believe it is. So
Bicentennial Park in Odessa, right?
No, in Oldsmar.
Oldsmar. I'm sorry. Get those confused sometimes. So, 11 a.m. So if you're looking for something to do with your kids.
we have a bouncy house. We have some events going on, a race, and I mean, actually, our hydration, Hydrate Heroes will be there, and some other local sponsors. Waterfall Bank, I want to give them a shout out.
Yeah.
Sprouts was the sponsor. Just everybody stepped up, and that's, back to the community, what you're talking about too. Again, as a community, we all can do our part. It takes a village, and that's our future is these kids. So, anything I can ever do that. I was talking to somebody today who was just on your show. I think I texted you, and
Titus,
he's got a
our man.
Yeah. So it's ironic that he was just on your show, and so he's interested in what we're doing, but also supporting what he's doing. Again, all of us working together, we can help each other. And that's
his message of unity. He was on the show on Wednesday, and we posted that interview. And if you missed it, go check it out because it is powerful.
Yeah,
it's powerful, and we need leaders like him in this country. And he doesn't want to be a politician because he can do so much more outside the ring, and he's doing. He's got a big Father's Day event coming up.
That's what he's talking about.
The Thaddeus Bullard Family Foundation. Go to their website and get your tickets. It's free, but you got to get tickets. It's going to be a hell of a celebration. So we're working on promoting that the next couple of weeks. So I think I appreciate you. I think I'll see you there. So get your.
Hey, are you plant-based yet? Or is that all for this weekend? I forget. Are you plant-based?
You think I'm going to be grilling Impossible Burgers on my Blackstone?
Man, I'm telling you, they're good. All right, I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep.
I'll be slugging this down with some good boy vodka.
Man, you're getting ripped a little bit. I noticed, man, that Hydrate Heroes is starting to work on you. Man.
It is, man. Hey, I tell you what, it has definitely made me feel better. My joints feel so much better from staying hydrated. I think the mushroom blend that works on inflammation is doing its thing because it has been a marked difference for me. It's not even funny. I mean, it's like I'm like, wow. This is
I did notice last time. I said, man, I better hit the gym a little bit more. You're gonna pass.
You better,
man. It's like, the gun show, baby.
All right, partner. Appreciate you, Mike.
Appreciate it. Happy Memorial Day to everyone out there. And again, just everybody, just don't forget our fallen heroes and enjoy your Memorial Day weekend.
Well said. Take care. All right, we're going to take our final quick break here on the JP Peterson Show. Come back and wrap it up. I want to reset the weekend for the Rays and all the playoffs that's going on this weekend. So quick break. We're brought to you by Italiano Insurance. Great time to get all those insurance rates shopped around. They do all the work. You save all the money. Get the great customer service at Italiano Insurance. 813-877-7799 at Italiano Insurance. Tell them JP sent you. Back at 3. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man Scott Jeeves. If you're going to hire an attorney, do you want some guy looking for a quick settlement and a quick buck, or do you want an attorney with some chops? Scott is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator. Been practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. He is a peer-reviewed AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer. They just don't hand out those classifications. He's been the lead class action counsel on many complex consumer protection cases and has handled hundreds of serious personal injury cases. He's dedicated his career to protecting injured victims and is committed to vigorously representing you. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. Personal injury and personal attention. Call for a free case evaluation. That's 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. The Jeeves Law Group.
All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com.
With over 34 years of producing small and large events, Extravaganza Productions is truly a Tampa treasure when it comes to creating some of the very best events in Tampa and all across the United States. I've worked with them at the Florida Sports Hall of Fame inductions, the Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-sized event spread across all of Tampa Bay. They are the very best, from small meetings to exceptionally large corporate conferences to galas, fundraisers, sporting events, grand openings, whatever you want. Team EPI has an extremely talented staff of designers and show producers that develop extraordinary events fueled by the visions of their clients. You can reach them at their Tampa headquarters at 813-621-4700 or go to extravaganzaproductions.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here. All right. Sorry, I was just reading something in the break that I just had to absolutely belly laugh at. But I'm going to hold my tongue. I'm going to hold my tongue right now just because I want to make sure that, I got all the – can't believe everything you read right away, right? You need to do a little bit of research, find out, is this really real?
Well, I mean, they can't put it on the internet if it's not true, right?
Unfortunately. Ask Scotty Scheffler about that. Welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Hydrate Heroes. We appreciate Michael coming on, and also at American Mortgage Services. Call my good friend Scott Fitzgerald if you're in the market for a mortgage or a home improvement loan. That's Scott at amstampa.com, Scott at amstampa.com. All right, before we get out of here, partner, let's hit some of the comments from our great folks commenting today. James says the Rays built mostly with Caribbean players, and that's fine. But when you look at a team like the Phillies built differently, no player fights in parking lot, no jealousy, maybe the Rays need a total retooling. Interesting thoughts there.
It is.
I think there's definitely been some disconnect between the players sometimes, and you wonder, how that whole dynamic is working within the group, because it just doesn't seem the same as it always has been. James also says the Rays don't seem to have fun. They don't seem like they want to compete. They got away, luckily, with one-sided trades, and those days are over. The team needs a makeover. I will say I agree with that. The team definitely needs a makeover.
When you say makeover, are you talking about a potential cleaning house and starting over, like a complete reboot?
I would. I mean, I don't think there's anybody on this team right now that's untradeable. I really don't, except Junior Caminero, maybe, and he's not even up yet. Everybody else, I just don't see. Josh Lowe looks like a really, really good player with a great future. I probably wouldn't trade him. Yandy Diaz he's an older player. He's definitely wins a batting title. That's valuable stuff. But he can't even run to first base hardly anymore. He's an older, younger player.
Yeah.
He hits for average, but not a whole lot of power. Is he a really plus player? Yeah. Is he tremendous defensively? I wouldn't say tremendous.
Yeah.
I look around the league and I see a lot of dynamic young players. I don't see a lot of that on the Rays right now. I don't. Randy's pushing 30. Jose Siri's athletic, but his skill set seems to be extremely inconsistent. Zach Eflin is a really, really good pitcher, but if we can get something for him, we've got a lot of good pitchers in the pipeline. We got some coming back. I think, the makeup of this team just doesn't seem to be clicking. It seems to be trending down. They got to a point, got to the World Series, and then since then, trending down. I think James kind of echoes that. He says, with the exception of Yandy Diaz, Itzhak Paredes, and maybe Josh Lowe, there's no position players that should not be looked at to trade. I mean, Randy is a Boris client. Fans are not coming back with Stu. I think the whole stadium thing is definitely kind of thrown a wrench into it as well. I think a lot of people are looking at it and going, whew, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And I think, we've kind of we're looking at the deal and saying the deal financially doesn't look really good for St. Petersburg. It looks really bad. But also we're kind of forgetting the main thing here. It's a terrible location. It's a terrible location, and you're making the same mistake twice. And that just seems like a really dumb thing to do to me. Baseball would be better where the fans are, and that's on and closer to the fans and where things are being built. I mean, the I-4 corridor, my God, over towards Orlando. That's where it needs to be. The fairgrounds, downtown Tampa.
Yeah.
Just makes more
I'm
sense.
a big fan of downtown stadiums, man. Trust me, I love Arlington, and I get that it's in between Dallas and Fort Worth, and you're splitting the population evenly. But
That
there
makes
is just
sense.
But there is no, and it makes perfect sense for where we are. But I still, man, the setting of a downtown stadium, an open air stadium with the skyline in the background, to me, there's just nothing better in baseball than that.
Yeah, and obviously in Florida, it's tough to have an open air stadium. I get that. Retractable domes cost a lot of money, but I think there's just a way better solution than this one.
Sure,
just a way better solution. Ralph Williams says the NCAA needs structure to cap and NIL athletes stay 4 years and one transfer in the transfer portal. This is insane. And adds Dan Radakovich was an assistant under Chuck Noll with the Steelers. I did not know that. Ralph, there's no question there needs to be a complete rehaul. I know one transfer. I'm gonna go two. I want to give the players a little bit more freedom because you get stuck with a bad coach and a bad program, a bad situation. Yeah. One free one, and then the next one maybe come with some conditions.
So I wonder if players are going to have contracts with their teams, with their programs. Does that mean when he enters the portal that next team has to pick up that original contract, or do they get to sign a brand new one?
Now that's a good point. You get a deal with the NIL deal or something that needs to be tied to the university. I think there needs to be some contract if you're going to, because if I'm an investor. You $3 or $4 million, just like the NFL, you got to stay. You got to stick it out, unless I release you from it.
Yep.
I think that's fair. Ralph says, and thanks for coming in, Ralph. And I'm sure if I've seen your name before, but we appreciate you jumping in. Thanks for commenting as well. I have no issue with college athletes getting paid, but not more than NFL players, and you have athletes staying 7 years. Yeah, you got to turn it over. You got to turn it over because it's killing high school recruiting. 5 years max. You got to move on. I know a lot of this COVID stuff has happened, but you got to turn it over and get these new kids opportunities. I definitely agree with that. Rick says a fire sale is coming this summer. Yeah, I think so. I hope so. I'd like to see some turnover. William Hatcher, good morning, my friend. Glad you're feeling better. Muggsy, big-time Wake Forest player. Loved Muggsy. Yeah, he's one of the greatest of all time. I want to go watch that documentary. I have not.
Yeah, that's intriguing. So who do you think would play Muggsy Bogues in the movies? Is it going to be Kevin Hart?
Has to be. 100%.
You're missing an opportunity right there if he doesn't, right?
That is the greatest typecasting of all time. Yes, absolutely. And then you don't have to go find actors that are small or bigger.
Right. They're already bigger. Kevin Hart's like 5'4".
Yeah, he's so small. But looking at when he does commercials with those other guys, they don't put him on a platform.
Yeah, him and The Rock, man. I love that pairing. I'm not a big Kevin Hart fan, to be honest with you, but dude, I like his movies with The Rock. Like I dig it.
I'm a huge Kevin Hart fan. I love his stuff. Love his stand-up. Love his movies. Yeah, I'm a huge Kevin Hart fan. Love it. All right, what else did we miss today? Junior Caminero coming up, folks. I thought we might see. I thought that was going to happen, but that we haven't seen a move yet from the Rays as of this live at 11:58. So I hope he makes a move. I mean, I think Josh Lowe's definitely going on the IL. Well, not definitely, but I think he is. So we shall see. And the Stars losing overtime last night. Did we talk about that on air?
Double overtime. The Stars had and it hurt because, as I told you off air, the opening face-off of the first overtime period, Connor McDavid got his stick up in the face of Marchment of Mason Marchment, who got cut bad and went immediately to the locker room, and they stopped at the next whistle to call the penalty, and they had to go get Mason Marchment out of the locker room to show him the blood, just so they could see his face. You get a double minor in the first minute. So a 4-minute power play in the first minute of the overtime. So you're on fresh ice, and they had 6 shots and 3 posts in those 4 minutes. And then you end up really, and by the way, Connor McDavid had a wide open net on Jake Ottinger a little bit later in that first overtime. And Chris Tanev gets over with his stick. McDavid was sitting there kind of trying to be patient, waiting for Ottinger to kind of make his move.
Yeah.
But the net was wide open. Ottinger's on the opposite side of the net just with his paddle out over there, right? And by the time McDavid took the shot, Tanev had come back and recovered on the play, never gave up on the play, and blocked the shot. But then McDavid in the second overtime gets his revenge and puts in a rebound, a backhanded rebound. So there you go.
We got Rangers and Panthers tonight. Panthers won the first game 3-0. I don't think the Rangers can come back from that.
No, me neither.
They might win tonight, but Panthers are just a better team. Last thing, did you see the Orioles White Sox end to that game last night?
I did not.
They called an infield fly rule, and then they called interference on the base runner who couldn't even see the shortstop coming in from behind him. Like it didn't even encumber him to make the play at all. Like the umpires had to go way out of their way to make this interference call, which was a double play to end the game. The White Sox would have had first and second, 2 outs, down 2, but at least, you don't end the game. That's just a horrible call by these umpires, and it's like the umpires are having a really, really bad year. If you haven't seen that, check that out. It's the Orioles White Sox ending last night.
Y'all go tune in when you get off the air here to NFL Network. There is your Super Bowl 28 world champion Dallas Cowboys right there.
Bills Cowboys?
Yeah, that's the 52-17 drubbing.
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
Bills fans, hide your eyes. Yeah. Herman Thomas. All right, Tim, thanks, man. Appreciate you. Big thanks to Wayne Hogan, who joined us today, and Corey Long. Please like and subscribe on our YouTube channel, JP Peterson Show and FanStream Sports. Same with our podcasts, and we appreciate all you guys watching. We'll be back on Monday. Have a great weekend, Memorial Day weekend. Remember what it's all about, and head on out to those parades. Thank the servicemen. Do all that good stuff. Have a good one.